The first time I met the Baroness, I was shelving rare manuscripts in the east wing of Ashford Manor's private library, and she appeared like an apparition in the doorway wearing a crimson silk gown that seemed designed to make hearts stop. "You must be the new librarian," she said, her voice carrying the refined accent of old money and older bloodlines. "Miss Clara Thornbury, correct?" I nearly dropped the 14th century illuminated manuscript I was holding. "Yes, my lady. Baroness Ashford. I arrived this morning." She moved closer, examining me with eyes the color of storm clouds. And I felt something shift in the air between us, something forbidden and dangerous that neither of us should acknowledge, but both of us immediately understood. "How fortunate," she said, her lips curving into a smile that held too many secrets. "I've been desperately in need of someone who appreciates rare books. Someone who understands the value of things kept hidden." The way she said hidden made it clear she wasn't only talking about books. And standing there in that library in 1897, with the Baroness's gaze fixed on me like I was something she intended to possess, I realized my carefully controlled life was about to become magnificently complicated. Tell me where you're watching from. Drop your city in the comments below. And if stories like mine resonate with you, please hit that subscribe button. Your support helps this channel reach people who understand that some love stories exist in the margins of history, whispered rather than spoken, but no less real for their silence. My name is Clara Thornbury, and this is the story of how I fell in love with Baroness Vivian Ashford in Victorian England, where such love between women could destroy reputations and lives, and was therefore conducted in shadows and secret glances and stolen moments that burned brighter for being forbidden. I was 24 when I took the position at Ashford Manor, the daughter of a country vicar, educated beyond my station, thanks to a wealthy aunt who believed intelligent women were wasted on marriage and housekeeping. I'd worked in 3 other private libraries before Ashford, always moving on before anyone could notice that I never showed interest in the male tutors or estate managers who attempted courtship. I knew what I was. I'd known since I was 16, and my schoolteacher, Miss Peterson, kissed me behind the chapel and awakened something I could never speak aloud. I knew the danger of being discovered. So I kept my head down, did my work brilliantly, and never let anyone close enough to see the truth. Ashford Manor was the grandest position I'd ever secured. The library contained over 10,000 volumes, including manuscripts and first editions worth more than most people earned in a lifetime. The Baron had died 2 years prior, leaving everything to his widow, Vivian, who at 32 had scandalized society by refusing to remarry and instead managing the estate herself. "She's peculiar," the housekeeper, Mrs. Davies, had warned me on my first day. "Keeps to herself. Doesn't entertain much. Obsessed with that library. The other staff think she's cold." But when I met Vivian that afternoon, cold was the last word I would have used. She radiated intensity, intelligence, and something else I recognized because I'd felt it in myself. Hunger for something society said we couldn't have. The first month, we established a routine. She would visit the library daily, sometimes for hours, reading while I worked. We'd discuss books, history, philosophy. She had opinions on everything, sharp and challenging, and didn't dumb herself down the way women were expected to. "You actually think," she said once, looking at me with surprise. "Most people I meet simply repeat what they've been told. You question, you analyze. Is that acceptable?" I'd ask cautiously. "It's extraordinary." The way she looked at me when she said it made my skin flush. By the second month, the boundaries started blurring. She'd stand too close when reviewing my cataloging work, her hand brushing mine when reaching for books. We'd stay up past midnight discussing literature, drinking wine she'd bring from the cellar, laughing in ways that felt dangerous. Once, she mentioned her marriage. 5 years of performing for someone who saw me as decoration. An accessory to his title. He never once asked what I thought about anything that mattered. That sounds lonely. It was suffocating. When he died, I cried from relief, not grief. Does that make me monstrous? It makes you honest. She'd looked at me for a long moment. "I think you understand things others don't, Clara." "What things?" "What it's like to hide who you are every moment of every day." The air had charged with unspoken meaning. I should have deflected, changed the subject, maintained professional distance. Instead I said, "Yes, I understand that exactly." Her eyes had darkened. "I thought you might." Neither of us moved. The moment stretched, full of possibility and danger. Then she'd stood abruptly. "It's late." "Good night, Miss Thornbury." But something had shifted. We both knew it. After that, everything intensified. The touches became more deliberate, the looks more lingering. One evening, she asked me to help retrieve a book from the top shelf. I climbed the ladder, and when I looked down, she was staring up at me with naked want in her eyes. "Vivian," I breathed, using her first name for the first time. "We can't." "Can't what?" But she knew. God, she knew exactly what I meant. This, whatever this is. It's dangerous. Only if we're caught. She moved to the base of the ladder. "Clara, come down." I climbed down slowly. When I reached the bottom step, she was right there, close enough I could smell her perfume. Roses and something darker. "Have you ever double quotes," she started, then stopped. "Yes." I didn't make her finish the question. "Once, when I was younger." "Did you love her?" "I thought I did. Until I met you." The words hung between us, impossible to take back. Vivian's breath caught. "You can't say things like that." "You asked." Clara. "If you want me to leave, I'll leave. I'll resign tomorrow. But if you want me to stay, you need to know that being around you and pretending I don't feel what I feel is becoming impossible." "What do you feel?" "Everything I shouldn't. Everything dangerous. Everything that could ruin us both." She reached up and touched my face, her hand trembling. "I've been so careful my entire life. Done everything right. Married who I was supposed to marry. Played the perfect lady. But with you, I don't want to be careful anymore." "Vivian. Kiss me, please. Just once." So, I know I'm not imagining this. I kissed her. In the library of Ashford Manor at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday in May 1897. I kissed Baroness Vivian Ashford and felt my entire world tilt. She kissed me back desperately, like she'd been drowning and I was air. We broke apart, breathing hard. "That was dangerous," she whispered. "Spectacularly dangerous." I agreed. "We should stop." "Yes." But she kissed me again. And again. And by the time the clock struck midnight, we'd moved from the library to her private chambers, crossing every line we'd been taught never to cross. For 6 months, we existed in a stolen world. During the day, she was the Baroness and I was her librarian. Proper, professional, appropriate. But at night, after the servants retired, she'd come to my quarters or I'd go to hers, and we'd be Clara and Vivian. Just 2 women in love in a world that would destroy us for it. We were so careful. Never touching in public. Never looking too long. But it was hard. Especially when she'd host dinners and I'd watch men court her, offering marriage, and I'd have to stand there silent while she politely declined, knowing she was coming to me later. "They think I'm strange for refusing to remarry," she told me one night, lying in my bed. "Let them think what they want. I have everything I need. Until someone discovers us, then we'll be careful. Vivian, this can't last forever. Eventually someone will notice. A servant will see something. A guest will wonder why you never remarry. They'll start watching you more closely. Then we'll leave. Go somewhere they don't know us." "Where?" "This isn't legal anywhere. It's not safe anywhere." She pulled me closer. "I know, but I'm not ready to let you go. Not yet." The end came swiftly and brutally. 7 months into our affair, a new housemaid started, recommended by Vivian's cousin. She was young, ambitious, and observant. 3 weeks after she arrived, she saw me leaving Vivian's chambers at dawn. I'd been careless, thinking everyone still slept. But she'd been awake, watching. A week later, rumors started circulating. The Baroness and her librarian were unnaturally close. They spent too much time together. Perhaps there was something inappropriate happening. Vivian's cousin, who'd always resented her inheriting the estate, seized the opportunity. He arrived with a doctor and a lawyer, claiming concern for Vivian's mental state. Women who reject natural marriage often suffer from nervous conditions. the doctor said. Moral insanity, some call it. They wanted to have her declared unfit, institutionalized, and transfer control of the estate. Vivian fought them. But Victorian England didn't offer many defenses for women accused of such things. To save herself, she'd have to deny everything. Deny me. I sat in the servants' hall while they interrogated her upstairs. Mrs. Davies, who'd grown fond of me, touched my shoulder. You should leave, dear. Before this gets worse. I can't abandon her. You'll both be destroyed if you stay. She was right. If I stayed, I'd be forced to testify. They'd extract confession, destroy both our reputations. Vivian would lose everything. So I left, packed my few belongings and walked away from Ashford Manor on a cold November morning without saying goodbye. I couldn't risk seeing her. Couldn't risk making things worse. I heard later that Vivian had successfully fought the conservatorship by agreeing to remarry within a year. She chose an elderly earl who wanted a pretty wife for social appearances and didn't care what she did otherwise. A marriage of convenience that bought her freedom. She wrote me once, 6 months after I left. The letter found me at my new position in Scotland. Clara, I think of you every day. What we had was real, even if we couldn't keep it. I hope you find safety and perhaps someday happiness. I will remember our library nights forever. I never wrote back. It was safer that way. That was 25 years ago. I'm 49 now, still working as a librarian, still unmarried. I've had one other love affair with a woman I met in Edinburgh who understood discretion. It ended amicably when she moved to America. I live quietly, comfortably, alone. But I've never forgotten Vivian. Never forgotten what it felt like to be completely seen by someone. To be loved dangerously and desperately in a world that called such love criminal. I heard Vivian died 3 years ago. Her earl had passed years before. She left her estate to charity and her library to the public. Sometimes I wonder if she thought of me at the end. If she remembered our stolen nights. If she regretted leaving or was grateful we had what we had, even briefly. I'll never know. But I hope she knew that loving her, even with all the danger and pain, was the most alive I've ever felt. If you've ever loved someone you couldn't have, if you've ever had to hide your heart to survive, if you know what that's like to be part of a history that was erased but still happened, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. And please subscribe to help these stories reach people who need to know that love has always existed in the margins, whispered and hidden but real. Thank you for being here, for listening, for remembering that our love stories matter even when history tried to forget them.